Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today. I am Representative Norma Hernandez, House Co-Chair for the Illinois Legislative Latino Caucus. We stand here not just to respond to the governor's budget address, but to reaffirm our purpose, our commitment, and our responsibility as the Illinois Legislative Latino Caucus. We do this work because we understand what is at stake. We are living through a devastating historical moment in our country where we are witnessing an alarming erosion of the very rights and opportunities our communities have fought so hard for. The attacks on our federal agencies, our immigrant families, and our constitutional rights are not just political talking points. They are a direct threat to the future of our state and working families of Illinois. Critical social programs that uplift the most vulnerable, those with real needs, are on the chopping block, and now even DEI initiatives, efforts meant to correct decades of systematic inequalities, are being falsely labeled as discriminatory. These setbacks are devastating because we know what it took to get here. Decades of organizing, advocacy, marching, and demanding a voice. And now all that progress is at risk. But let's be clear, this was never about the price of eggs or the crisis at the border. The Trump administration has shown us that again and again, the real agenda is to divide, to diminish, and to exclude. And that is why our fight is so critical. To them, this is about power, about whose voices get heard, whose communities get resources, and whose future gets prioritized. Today's budget address is more than just numbers on a page. We all know that a budget is a moral document. It tells us what our state values are, who it prioritizes, and who it leaves behind. And as the Illinois Latino Legislative Caucus, it is our duty to make sure that our communities are not just an afterthought, not just a talking point, but a driving force in shaping the state's future. Latinos make up 18% of Illinois' population, a number that continues to rise. But representation alone is not enough. We need investment, and we need real commitment, because when we invest in Latino communities, we invest in the success and future of Illinois. Our entrepreneurs, our cultural vibrancy, our labor force, these are the engines of our state's economy and future. That is why we stand here and fight for a budget that funds education, healthcare access for all, small businesses and social services that our communities rely on, that all working people rely on, that protects the programs that allows Latinos across Illinois not just to live here, but to thrive here. So today we recommit ourselves into this fight because we are not just here to react, we are here to lead, to build, and to organize, to uplift, to assure that our people, all of our working people across Illinois have the opportunity to succeed. Now I'd like to introduce my Senate co-chair, Karina Villa.
My name is Karina Villa. I am the Senate co-chair of the Illinois Legislative Latino Caucus, and I am the state senator of Illinois' 25th Senate District. Since the start of the new federal administration, our communities have faced increased anxieties about our future. Actions at the federal level have incited fear and threatened to dismantle the communities that we built. I am here to remind everyone that the Latino community in Illinois is resilient and powerful. Our contributions to the state are undeniable. We have shaped the social, cultural, and economic standing of Illinois across generations, and we will continue to do so. In this state, we hold dear our immigrant neighbors, not only for their contributions, but also as residents of Illinois who deserve to feel secure in their day-to-day lives. In 2022 alone, undocumented immigrants contributed $1.5 billion in taxes to our state, and much more into the federal government. Immigrants in Illinois hardly see these tax dollars back as they are barred from reaping the benefits from programs that their hard-earned money helps to fund. These are workers who were deemed essential during the COVID-19 pandemic, who are under attack by the federal administration, and they continue to put food on the table for Illinoisans and people across the nation. These workers are the backbone of our construction industry, manufacturing, labor force, hospitality industry, and more. These individuals, regardless of their immigration status, deserve the benefit equitably from investments and reap benefits of their tax revenue in our state, systematic change is necessary to ensure this. By prioritizing investments that support the need of our community, we are standing our ground to strive towards an environment where every individual has the opportunity to thrive in our state. In this state, we believe that providing access to quality education for all students, regardless of their parents' immigration status. This is a sentiment we hold not only for education, but also for other critical services that contribute to the well-being of our community, especially healthcare programs that provide services to immigrant adults and seniors, like HBIA and HBIS, welcoming centers, reproductive care, community health navigators, and free and charitable clinics. This year, our Raíces document, or our roots, hold true equity, justice, and community development to guide our work and focus as we secure a budget that holds the line on critical investments that prioritize our essential workers. Thank you, and I will now pass the floor to Leader Dagmara Avelar.
Good afternoon, everybody. Assistant Majority Leader Dagmara Avelar. Let me just click this really quick. We gather here today at a pivotal moment in Illinois' history, in the nation's history. The Latino Caucus is here to respond to the proposed budget by the governor, underscoring our wavering commitment to equity, language access, housing, and economic opportunities for Latino communities and all communities here in the state of Illinois. With over 2 million Latinos enriching our state's cultural and economic fabric, their prosperity, our prosperity, is integral to Illinois' success. Economic prosperity must be accessible to all. The proposed budget outlines plans to ease financial burdens on the middle and working class, and these measures are vital steps towards supporting families and creating an opportunity for every child and every family to thrive. We know that education remains a cornerstone of opportunity, yet many Latino students face barriers to quality education that are often also added to another barrier, which is language access, not only to children, but to their families as well. The governor's agenda aims to make investments in education. And these investments are not merely about just education, but about equity. And while we are happy to see that, we know that we could do a lot more. We know that these investments are about honoring the dignity and potential of every student, ensuring that they have the resources to thrive. Our state also confronts an unprecedented housing crisis, and this was mentioned today in the budget address. We know that home ownership, which is a key to generational wealth, is increasingly elusive as foreign investors and corporate speculators acquire properties, viewing homes as tradable assets rather than places to live and communities to thrive. This budget proposes bold action to preserve the soul of our communities, emphasizing the construction of affordable housing and implementing measures to curb speculative practices that inflate housing costs. I cannot wait to work with the governor on this, and I know that my colleagues as well. Beyond these targeted initiatives, we also must acknowledge that everyday challenges are being faced by Illinoisans. Inflation has strained household budgets, making essentials like food, childcare, and housing increasingly unaffordable. This budget seeks to address these kitchen table issues by proposing measures to control costs, provide relief to working families, and we know that this is just the beginning. What we saw today was a proposed budget. We still have to negotiate with the House, we still have to negotiate with the Senate to again bring a moral document that we could all be proud about. In an era where federal policies are often undermining the principles of inclusion and equity, Illinois stands as a beacon of progress. And our commitment as a caucus is to work on a budget that reflects our resolve to lead with compassion and justice, and that also ensures that every resident, regardless of background, has the opportunity to succeed. As members of the state legislature, especially those representing Latino communities, it is our duty to champion these initiatives, collaborate across aisles, and transform this vision into reality. So I hope that we all can move forward with determination, again, being grounded in our values,
knowing that not only everybody deserves the right of being able to access quality, affordable healthcare, but then also quality, affordable housing, education, and much, much more that you'll be hearing from our caucus members. With that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Representative Cervantes. Senator Cervantes.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Javier Loera Cervantes. I am the state senator of the 1st Senate District of Illinois, and today I want to speak to you about the importance of justice within our Latino community. As the Latino Caucus of the Illinois General Assembly, we embrace our vital role in championing justice and equity for Latinos throughout our state. Now more than ever, it is imperative that we unite as a state to uplift our immigrant community, which has faced unjust challenges from the federal administration. Speaking on behalf of the entire Latino Caucus, I express my profound disappointment in the insufficient proposed investments in programs that support our community, the lack of substantial funding for initiatives designed to empower our Latino population threatens to undermine one of our most vulnerable groups at the greatest time of need. Let us unite as a resilient state, gathering our strength to uplift our most marginalized populations. By investing in these essential programs, we could boldly confront the rising challenges faced by our Latino and immigrant communities. Together, we can pave the way for a future where every individual, regardless of their background, can flourish and continue to contribute to the collective success of Illinois. We must amplify our support for our local organizations as they are crucial in scaling up services that safeguard our families and communities. We must not also overlook the profound injustices that afflict our environment. It is imperative that we invest in innovative technologies and champion green policies to uplift the environmental health of our underserved neighborhoods. Today, countless Latino families reside near landfills and factories, exposed to harmful chemicals and pollutants that jeopardize their well-being. The proximity breeds health challenges, but we have the power to change this narrative. As a former union representative, my career has been devoted to advocating for labor and worker justice. The working class individuals in Illinois often make tremendous sacrifices to support their families. With an increased number of Latino workers stepping into the front lines, it is crucial that they receive the support that they deserve. Every laborer, regardless of their immigrant status, deserves protection from unjust practices. We are witnessing too many hardworking individuals, especially those in essential roles, face unsafe conditions, inadequate wages, and exploitation. To safeguard those who form the backbone of our economy, we must continue to fortify labor rights and empower unions to fiercely represent their members. The dedicated Latinos in our communities deserve the support we have committed to provide. Now, while this budget year presents challenges, it also heralds hope. We pledge to fight tirelessly during negotiations to ensure that the people we represent in our districts and throughout our state receive the support they deserve. Together, we can forge a brighter future, and thank you for your time. Next, I would like to introduce Representative Leader Evdina Delgado.
Hello, thank you. My name is Evadina Delgado. I represent the 3rd District on the northwest side of the city of Chicago. It's an honor to stand before you as a representative of the Illinois Legislative Latino Caucus. We are a group that is dedicated to empowering Latino communities across the state. And today we reaffirm our commitment to community development, not just as a concept, but as a call to action. For us, community development means building support, creating resources, and fostering opportunities so that every Latino family in Illinois has the ability to thrive. We know the issues our communities face because we listen. We understand that our most important goal is to help Illinois families make ends meet. We see the challenges, but we also see the possibilities. And through extensive engagement and advocacy, we have identified 3 critical areas within community development. 1, community infrastructure and support services. Our neighborhoods deserve safe, strong, and well-equipped spaces. That means investing in affordable housing, as you've heard one of my colleagues talk about, investing in small businesses, and investing in public services. The second is youth programs and services. The future of our community depends on the opportunities we provide young people. From mentorship to after-school programs and career pathways, we must ensure that every child and young adult has the opportunity to reach their full potential. And 3, health and wellness. Access to quality health care is fundamental to the wellness of our communities. We are working to expand medical services and preventive care so we ensure that no family is left behind. But we also know that change doesn't happen in isolation. It happens when we come together, when we collaborate, when we organize, and when we build power within our communities. Expanding healthcare access and strengthening economic development are not just policy choices, but they are necessary steps towards equity and opportunity. So our work is just beginning. Over the coming weeks, we will go line by line through the governor's introduced budget and produce not only a fiscally, but a socially responsible budget. We will continue the work. We'll work with the governor, we'll work with our fellow legislators, but more importantly, we're going to work with our communities and make sure that we are going to pass a budget that truly delivers for our Latino families. So as we move forward, we will call on our partners, our allies, and every member of our community to join us in this effort. This is our mission. This is our commitment. And this is our time to make a difference. Thank you. And I turn it over to my colleague, Senator Selena Villanueva.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm State Senator Selena Villanueva. I represent the 12th District on the southwest side of the city of Chicago. I want to speak plainly about the realities that we're facing in the state of Illinois and in the country. Immigrant and Latino communities have been under attack and are under attack by the current administration. But in Illinois, we have incredible groups of people fighting back every minute of every day. Whether it's the advocates who are out in the streets educating people about their constitutional rights, whether it's this group of people that I proudly stand with that form part of the Latino Caucus, that make sure that we're doing our jobs that we take very seriously and very to heart, and understanding that our representation isn't solely, and our responsibility isn't solely the representation of the people in our districts, which we were duly elected to do, but the representation of all Latino communities in the state of Illinois. It's something that we do with honor, it's something that we do with pride, and it is something that we do with conviction and courage. Because these jobs are not easy. Having the conversations about what matters most isn't easy when you're in a room full of people that often tell you that your communities are okay with coming last. And they're not. Our communities deserve the same respect, the same dignity that anyone else in the state of Illinois deserves, that anyone else in this country deserves. They're the same communities that are making sure that there's food on people's tables, making sure that the harvest in this country is cropped, making sure that industries are happening and are actually continuing to function. Because when we look at the statistics of industries like construction, like hospitals, like restaurants, and any other industry in this country, you find Latino faces and Latino voices. And they should be given the same dignity and respect as doctors, which we also have Latino doctors, as nurses, as presidents and CEOs of corporations. Why? Because our communities deserve the dignity and respect. And when we speak about a budget that is a moral document, our communities deserve the dignity and respect. When as a caucus we speak about equity, justice, and community development, we talk about raíces, we talk about our roots, but we also talk about values. It's values that brought us to the legislature, not just as individuals, and not just as representatives of our communities, but representative of the families that we come from, of the ancestors that struggled and made very difficult choices in very difficult times to get us here. But it's that resilience that will continue to fuel us. It is the same courage and conviction that will continue to fuel us for the fights that come ahead, because here's the thing, we're not going anywhere. And we won't go anywhere. And we won't go silently in the night. We will be here fighting day in and day out. And yes, this budget proposal is the beginning of a conversation. We know we have some hard days ahead of us. We know we have some tough conversations. And nobody over here standing on this side is afraid of that, because we know what's at stake. When my colleague talks about $1.5 billion of tax revenue coming solely from undocumented communities in the state of Illinois, that's not peanuts. And that is just one segment of the Latino population in this state. We're talking about legal permanent residents. We're talking about U.S. citizens. We are talking about people such as myself, the daughter of immigrants. When they try to tell us that we're powerless, we fight back and show them that we are powerful. Because we are. And not because we need to oppress other people in order to show who we are. We are powerful because we know that in community and working together in order to fight for the programs, whether it's small business development, whether it is community development, whether it's violence prevention, whether it's healthcare and education, whether it's workforce readiness for people, we know what we're fighting for. And it isn't just for us. Because when we invest in our communities, the communities then invest tenfold in everybody else. This isn't a lump sum game. When we make investments in the working people of the state of Illinois, Illinois wins. So yes, we have work to do. But we have our guiding principles, our guiding documents, our guiding values to get us to what we're going to get through because we've been there before and we'll be there again. And this group of people is nothing but resilient. So, thank you very much. With that, I will be introducing my colleague, State Representative Edgar Gonzalez, to give us a recap in Spanish.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now in Spanish. Como dijo la representante Norma Hernández, reafirmamos nuestro propósito, nuestro compromiso y nuestra responsabilidad como el Caucus Latino de Illinois en respuesta al discurso del gobernador sobre el presupuesto. Nuestros derechos han sido pisoteados, nuestras agencias federales deputizados, nuestras familias inmigrantes terrorizadas y mucho del trabajo que hemos hecho en forma de programas sociales críticos ahora están en riesgo bajo la administración de Trump. A Trump nunca le importó el precio de los huevos, solo le importó dividir, disminuir y excluir. Por eso la lucha por venir es tan crítica. Usaremos el presupuesto como una guía, no nomás como números en una página. El presupuesto es un documento moral que conlleva los valores de nuestro Estado, a quien prioriza y a quien deja atrás sin importar su estatus migratorio. Como Caucus Latino, es nuestro deber asegurarnos de que nuestras comunidades sean recipientes de inversión, de compromiso, intencionalmente, y nos comprometemos a esa lucha. Como dijo la senadora Karina Villa, hay que reconocer las implicaciones de acciones federales y cómo afecta nuestro trabajo con el presupuesto. Bajo tanta presión, miedo y pánico a nivel federal, hay que pelear por un presupuesto justo y equitativo que nivela el campo de juego para las comunidades vulnerables y brinda protecciones por un entorno de oportunidad para cada persona en Illinois. Este año nuestros pilares de equidad, justicia y desarrollo comunitario guían nuestro enfoque presupuestario y abordan las barreras sistémicas que han impedido continuamente que nuestra comunidad se beneficie y participe de manera equitativa de los avances que nuestro Estado ha estado logrando. Como dijo la líder Dagmara Velar, el éxito de los 2 millones de latinos en Illinois es clave para la prosperidad futura del Estado. La financiación de la educación bilingüe, inversiones en programas de estudio que responden a necesidades culturales y ampliación del acceso a la educación superior y capacitación laboral son esenciales para derribar las barreras para los estudiantes y jóvenes latinos. Además, preservando la vivienda asequible y ampliando el crédito tributario para los hijos y las comunidades escolares universales aliviará los cargos financieros de las familias latinas. Las familias de clase media no deberían luchar contra la inflación solas. Por eso estamos comprometidos a presentar un presupuesto popular que se centre en las necesidades de nuestras comunidades. Como dijo el senador Javier Loera Cervantes, es imperativo trabajar en conjunto para alzar la comunidad migrante. Nos decepcionamos por la falta de inversión justa y suficiente para programas y servicios estatales. Como ex organizador sindical, él reconoce lo importante que es defender la justicia laboral y de los trabajadores. Todos los trabajadores, independientemente de su estatus migratorio, merecen protección contra prácticas injustas. Para proteger a quienes forman la columna vertebral de nuestra economía, debemos seguir fortaleciendo los derechos laborales y empoderar a los sindicatos para que representen ferozmente a sus miembros. Este año presupuestario presenta desafíos, pero también presagia esperanza. Nos sentimos motivados por las inversiones propuestas destinadas a cuestiones que afectan directamente a nuestra comunidad y nos comprometemos a luchar incansablemente durante las negociaciones para garantizar que las personas que representamos en nuestros distritos y en todo el estado reciban el apoyo que se merecen. Como dijo la líder Evadina Delgado, reafirmamos nuestro compromiso con el desarrollo comunitario a generar apoyo, crear recursos y fomentar oportunidades para que cada familia latina de Illinois tenga la capacidad de prosperar. 3 áreas críticas orientarán nuestro compromiso: infraestructura comunitaria y servicios de apoyo, programas y servicios para jóvenes y salud y bienestar. Invertir en viviendas asequibles, pequeñas empresas y servicios públicos, la tutoría hasta los programas extraescolares y las trayectorias profesionales y el acceso a una atención médica de calidad y la atención preventiva, todos son pasos necesarios hacia la equidad y la oportunidad. Nuestro trabajo casi va a empezar. En las próximas semanas revisaremos línea por línea el presupuesto presentado por el gobernador y trabajaremos junto con él, nuestros colegas legisladores y líderes comunitarios para garantizar que el presupuesto se implemente de una manera que realmente beneficie a nuestras familias latinas y que sea fiscalmente y socialmente responsable. Y como dijo la senadora Celina Villanueva, nuestra responsabilidad como caucus latino es proteger nuestra comunidad de las amenazas directas al futuro de nuestro estado y de las familias trabajadoras de Illinois. Tenemos grupos y organizaciones educando a nuestra gente y haciendo todo lo que podamos para representar toda la comunidad latina del estado de Illinois. Nuestras comunidades merecen el mismo respeto y dignidad, que todos tengan comida en la mesa, que las industrias sigan trabajando y funcionando. Viendo industrias como los hospitales o restaurantes que tienen muchos latinos trabajando en ellos, en posiciones altas y bajos, tenemos que guiarnos por nuestros valores y principios que están profundamente arraigados en la experiencia latina y la de nuestros ancestros, los de la equidad, la justicia y el desarrollo comunitario. No nos vamos a ningún lado y la negociación que desempeñaremos este año es solo el comienzo y el trabajo sigue. No necesitamos oprimir a otras comunidades para sobresalir, porque cuando invertimos en nuestras comunidades, se invierte entre todos y para todos. Si nuestras comunidades ganan, todo Illinois gana. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know, well, no, Senator Villanueva, we discussed this, but for anybody up there, one of the glaring things that was absent from the budget, obviously, is that the governor's proposing to eliminate the HBIA program, the immigrant health care program, the 42 to 64 through 64. Anyone have any thoughts on that? Like, because I know that this has obviously been a big agenda item for the Latino Caucus, like legislatively for the last 5 years. So, like, what are the next steps for you all, and can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think you heard from all of us today that we're absolutely committed to continuing to fight and hold a line for the program. I think that this is just the beginning. This is the governor's proposed budget, and now we have a few months here to work hard and, like we said, look line item by line item to see where we're going to be able to make things up and, hold a line for HBIA. We believe that healthcare is a human right, and we believe that taking people off of healthcare is not the right answer.
Why do you think that the governor took that step, and are you offended that of all the programs, this is really kind of the big one that took a hit?
We haven't had a conversation with the governor yet. We're not sure why he chose to do that, but it was a significant hit to a very important program to our caucus. So we're going to continue to make our voices heard and work towards making sure that we're holding the line on that program.
I know you said you're not sure why, but were you expecting that cut before today, or?
I think for a while we've been hearing, right, all of us have been hearing that it was going to be a tough budget year. I think that we expected there to be some things in the budget that we weren't going to be happy with. But I think completely removing a program is not anything that we were expecting.
Is this a do or die item for the caucus, that it needs to be in there, or you're not going to vote yes on a budget?
Each individual member can answer that question. I think that we'll see what happens from here until May.
I think also we have a lot of conversations to have within each other in terms of strategy and advocacy. So it's important that we have those necessary conversations before we even, as a collective, decide how to approach it.
We also saw a reduction in funding for welcoming centers. Is that another concern about kind of, how those welcoming centers will continue to operate in the future?
some of that funding for those welcoming centers, if you look at the line-by-line increase over the last couple of years, has been very specific and has been around shelter operations and things that are winding down. So I think there's, somewhat of a reason for that line item to be different. We just want to make sure that we are preserving the bottom line welcoming centers that we had fought for, and that currently is in the budget. And so, but we want to make sure that the organizations that are going to be impacted by this, I heard from an organization today that's going to be impacted by this cut. And to be honest, it's not only going to be hurting undocumented families or new arrivals, it's going to be hurting our communities, because these organizations are organizations in our communities who are doing social services. And so I think, to take a hammer to it, I don't think is the right approach. However, I think that there is a good conversation to be had about what needs to be wound down and what needs to be preserved. And that goes also to the health benefits for immigrants, adults, and immigrant seniors. Taking a hammer to a program like that and completely eliminating it is not the answer. We need to make sure that we are holding the line, as was mentioned, to make sure that we're not kicking people off of services, creating division, creating crisis. Because if we go too far in that direction, we're going to be creating crisis in our community. And I want to repeat what has been said. This is not the end of the story. This is the proposed budget. Let us not forget that there is, as the governor said, not a one-person decision-making body. We are the legislative body, and so we will be having these discussions. We will be doing line by line. We will be talking about other options, revenue options, and other options that could be on the table to make sure that all of our programs are preserved. And specifically, I just want to make sure that you all know that these cutting specific programs is not going to only impact the Latino community. It's going to reverberate throughout our state. And so we need to think of that these are mixed status families, these are people in communities, that people go to school alongside all of our other Illinois residents. And so we need to think about it in that perspective more broadly.
Does anyone have any allusion or any reaction to the allusions or comparisons that the governor made earlier to Nazism?
We think it's great to remind us what we have at stake, what is in front of us. We have a rise to authoritarianism globally, right? We are one of those countries that decided to choose a president that is, giving us a taste of what that can look like for our future democracy. So it's important for our governor to call that out, because that is what's happening. So we are grateful that he is able to recognize that. We know that he is one of the few governors to recognize that in the country. So I appreciated that reminder today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good job, guys.